Most people think their 401k is growing. But what if I told you it might be quietly shrinking at the same time? Not because the market is crashing, not because you pick the wrong investments, but because of something almost nobody pays attention to: fees. Small, invisible, boring fees. The kind that don't look dangerous. The kind that don't feel urgent. The kind that slowly eat away at your future without you ever noticing. And the worst part? They don't just take your money once. They take it every single year. And then they take the growth that money would have created. Which means you're not just losing dollars. You're losing compounding. And that changes everything. Because compounding is where real wealth is built. But fees? Fees work like reverse compounding. They grow in the opposite direction. Quietly. Consistently. Relentlessly. Let's make this simple. Imagine you invest your money, and your investments earn around 7% per year. That sounds good. That's what most people expect long-term. But now, imagine you're paying just 1% in fees. That doesn't sound like much. Most people would ignore that. But now your return isn't 7%. It's closer to 6%. And that 1% difference, it doesn't just reduce your returns. It reshapes your entire financial future. Because over time, that gap gets wider, and wider, and wider, until it becomes massive. We're talking tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars lost, from something most people never even look at. And here's what makes it worse. These fees are usually hidden, buried inside fund expense ratios, management fees, administrative costs, things that don't show up as a big red warning. They just quietly exist in the background. So you keep investing, thinking everything is working for you, when in reality, something is working against you every single day. Now, here's the shift. We're not trying to eliminate fees completely. That's not realistic. But we are trying to minimize them. Because small improvements here create massive differences later. And this is one of the easiest wins in investing. It doesn't require more money. It doesn't require more effort. It just requires awareness. Start by looking at the funds inside your 401k. Most plans give you a list of options. Some of those options will have higher fees. Some will be much lower. And in many cases, the lower-cost options are just as effective, if not better, especially when you're looking at index funds. Because you're not trying to beat the market. You're trying to capture it efficiently, without unnecessary drag. This is where people overcomplicate things. They chase performance. They try to pick winners. They move money around constantly. But the real advantage often comes from doing less and paying less. Because every dollar you don't lose to fees stays invested and keeps compounding. year after year after year. Now think about this. If you combine what we talked about in the last video, increasing your contribution rate early, with minimizing fees, you're stacking two powerful advantages: more money going in and less money leaking out. That combination is hard to beat. And this is where things start to accelerate. Because now your system is optimized. Not perfect, but efficient. And efficient systems win over time. Not flashy strategies. Not risky bets. Simple, consistent, optimized systems. That's how real wealth is built. But let's go one layer deeper. Because this isn't just about numbers, it's about behavior. Most people never check their 401k details. They set it up once and forget it exists, which is good for consistency, but dangerous for optimization, because small inefficiencies stay hidden. And over decades, those small inefficiencies become big problems. So here's a simple rule. Once or twice a year, review your 401k. Look at the fees. Look at the fund options. Make small adjustments if needed. Then leave it alone again. That's it. No overthinking. No constant changes. Just small corrections over time. That's how you stay on track and avoid silent losses. Because the biggest threat to your retirement isn't always what you can see. It's what you don't. And once you see it, you can fix it. If you take anything from this, let it be this. It's not just about how much you invest. It's about how much you keep. Because keeping more means compounding more. And compounding more means building real wealth. So don't ignore the small numbers, because over time, they become the big ones. If this opened your eyes, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Smart Money Compounds. Because here,